My sister-in-law stole $50,000 from my account while watching her son. When I confronted her, she said it was babysitting pay. What I did next sent her to prison. Hi, I'm Carmen. I'm 35 years old, and I never thought I'd be writing this story. But after everything that's happened in the last few months, I feel like I need to tell you what my sister-in-law did to me and how she ended up paying the consequences in the most epic way possible. To understand all this craziness, I first need to explain a little about my family. I've been married to Michael for 8 years. He's a wonderful and hard-working man. His older sister, Letitia, has always been, well, let's say she's the type of person who believes the world owes her something. She's 42 years old, has 3 kids from different fathers, and an impressive ability to manipulate people, especially her family. Since I've known her, Letitia has always had financial emergencies. Michael, being the good and responsible brother he is, always ended up helping her. Loans she never paid back, favors that became permanent obligations, and an attitude that we were obligated to support her because she's family. I work as an accountant at a major firm and earn well. Michael is an engineer, and we've worked hard to build our lives. We don't have kids yet because we've been focused on our careers and saving to buy a house. We have a joint savings account where we've been putting money away for years for the down payment on our future home. Until 3 months ago, we had $75,000 saved up. The problem started when Letitia got a part-time job at a department store. For the first time in years, it seemed like she was trying to be responsible. She told us she wanted to change, that she wanted to set a better example for her kids. Michael was so proud of her that he practically started crying when she told us. But of course, here comes the but. Turns out her work schedule overlapped with her youngest son's school schedule, Diego, who's 7 years old. The other 2 kids are already in high school and can take care of themselves, but Diego needed someone to pick him up from school and watch him until she got off work. "Carmen, please," she begged me one afternoon when she came to our house. "I just need help for a few weeks until I can arrange something more permanent. I swear this time is different. I'm really trying to get ahead." Michael looked at me with those puppy dog eyes he gets when he wants us to do something for his family. I sighed and agreed. After all, Diego is a sweet kid, and it wasn't his fault having such an irresponsible mother. The arrangement was simple. I would pick up Diego from school 3 days a week, take him to my house, give him dinner, and Letitia would come get him when she got off work around 7 p.m. The other 2 days, Letitia's neighbors could help. At first, everything seemed to go well. Diego is really an adorable kid, polite and grateful. He did his homework without being asked, always said please and thank you, and even helped me set the table. I started getting attached to him, and I even thought that maybe this experience was preparing me for when Michael and I had our own children. But Letitia started abusing the arrangement almost immediately. First, she would arrive a little late to pick up Diego, 7:30, then 8 hour. Then she started asking me if she could leave him on weekends because she had important commitments. When I asked what commitments, she always had some vague excuse about work or medical appointments. One day she arrived at 10 p.m. to pick up Diego. The kid was already in pajamas and practically asleep on the couch. When I asked her where she'd been, she told me she'd gone out to dinner with some work friends for networking. "Letitia," I said, trying to stay calm, "you can't leave Diego this late. He has school tomorrow." She looked at me like I was the one being unreasonable. "Carmen, I thought you understood how important this job is for me. I'm trying to build professional relationships. Can't you be a little more flexible?" Michael, of course, said nothing. He just stood there while his sister basically scolded me for daring to question her decisions. Things got worse when Letitia started using my house as her personal daycare service. She would show up Saturday mornings, saying she had to work overtime, drop Diego off with me and show up Sunday night. A whole weekend became the norm. One Saturday, after Letitia had left saying she had to work, Diego innocently asked me, "Aunt Carmen, why did my mom tell me she was going to work if I saw her getting ready to go out with Mr. Roberto?" That's when I realized this woman was using me as free babysitting so she could go on dates. But what upset me most was that she was lying to her own son. I decided I had to talk to Michael that night. "Your sister is taking advantage of us," I told him. "This isn't temporary help anymore. This is being full-time babysitters without getting paid." Michael sighed. "I know it's getting to be a lot, but she's trying to rebuild her life. Diego is better off with us than home alone." Michael, I love Diego, but this isn't fair. Your sister is going on dates while we take care of her son. And besides, she's never even offered to help us with expenses. Food, gas, we're paying for. Everything. You're right, he said, and for a moment I thought he was finally going to set boundaries. I'll tell her to at least help us with some expenses. When Michael talked to Letitia, she immediately got defensive. Are you seriously going to charge me for watching my son? What kind of family are you? I thought you were helping me because you love me. Classic Letitia manipulation, making us the villains for asking for basic responsibility. But she agreed to give us $50 a week. For expenses. It was ridiculously little considering Diego was with us at least 30 hours a week, but at least it was something. Except she never paid. She always had an excuse. I forgot to bring cash. My card is blocked. Next week I'll pay you double. After a month without receiving a single cent, I stopped asking. Things reached the breaking point when Letitia started leaving Diego from Friday night until Monday morning. Her excuse was that she had to work weekend shifts, but Diego confessed to me that his mom would go on trips with friends and he would stay with the neighbor until he came to me. One Sunday night, when Letitia came for Diego, she arrived in a new car, a BMW sedan that she definitely couldn't afford on her part-time job. New car? I asked. Oh, it's used, she said quickly. I got a good deal. But when I saw her driving, I noticed the plates were temporary. It was a brand new car. That night, I couldn't sleep. Something didn't add up. How could someone who supposedly couldn't afford $50 a week for her child's expenses be driving a new BMW? The next day, I decided to check our bank accounts. It's something I do routinely as an accountant, but I'd been so busy with work and taking care of Diego that I'd let a couple weeks pile up without checking. What I saw chilled my blood. 3 withdrawals from our joint savings account, $15,000 on March 12th, $20,000 on March 19th, $15,000 on April 2nd, a total of $50,000. Our house. Savings, the money we'd been putting away for years, had practically vanished. My first thought was that maybe there had been a bank error or fraud. I immediately called customer service, and they told me that all withdrawals had been made in person at the branch with valid identification. Can you tell me who made the withdrawals? I asked, though I already had a horrible suspicion. The withdrawals were made by Mrs. Letitia Morales, the representative told me. I dropped the phone. Literally dropped it from my hands. Letitia, my sister-in-law, the woman we'd been helping taking care of her son, giving her free food and transportation, had stolen $50,000 from our account. But wait, because here comes the part that made me most furious. Turns out months ago, when Letitia had had another of her financial emergencies, Michael had gone to the bank with her to help her open a savings account, to be her moral support, according to him. But since Letitia didn't have a clean credit history, Michael had to co-sign for her, and apparently in the process the bank employee made an error and added Letitia's name as a secondary holder on our joint account instead of just being a guarantor for her own account. Michael had signed some papers without reading carefully, typical of him when it comes to his sister, and neither of us realized the error until now. Technically, Letitia had legal access to our account. When I told Michael what had happened, he went pale. There must be an explanation, he said. Maybe it was a mistake, maybe she thought it was her account. A $50,000 mistake, Michael, in 3 separate withdrawals. We decided to confront her immediately. We went to her house that same afternoon. When we knocked on the door, Diego opened it with a smile. Aunt Carmen, Uncle Michael, what are you doing here? Letitia appeared behind him, and I swear when she saw us, her face changed. It was like seeing someone who knew they'd been caught. Letitia, we need to talk, I said without preamble. Sure, come in. Diego, go to your room to do homework. We sat in her living room, and I went straight to the point. Why did you withdraw $50,000 from our account? The face she made was total indignation. How dare you accuse me of stealing? It's not an accusation, Letitia. I have the bank statements, 3 withdrawals, all with your identification. There was a silence that lasted forever. Finally, Letitia straightened up and looked me directly in the eyes. It's not stealing, she said with a calm that disconcerted me. It's babysitting pay. I was speechless. I literally couldn't speak for several seconds. Babysitting pay? I finally managed to say. Yes, I've been doing calculations. Diego has been with you approximately 40 hours a week for 3 months. The average babysitter salary in this city is $20 an hour. 40 hours a week for 12 weeks is 480 hours. At $20 an hour, that's $9,600. But you're not professional babysitters, so I added extra for the inconvenience, meals, transportation, all that. $50,000 seems fair to me. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This woman had coldly calculated how much to charge us for taking care of her son, the son she had practically abandoned with us. Letitia, Michael said with a trembling voice, that money was for our house. Well, she replied, shrugging, now it's mine. Besides, technically it's our family's money, right? And I'm family. At that moment, I stood up. I was shaking with rage. Let's go, Michael. We've heard enough. Where are you going? Asked Letitia. Aren't you staying for dinner? Diego misses you when you don't come. The audacity of this woman had no limits. That night, Michael and I had the biggest fight of our marriage. He wanted to solve this as a family, talk to Letitia, maybe reach a payment agreement. I wanted to call the police immediately. She's my sister, Carmen. I know what she did is wrong, but sending her to jail isn't going to solve anything. Oh, it won't? And what will solve it? Letting her get away with it? Michael, she stole $50,000 from us. $50,000. That's a felony. But Diego isn't to blame for having a thief for a mother. If Leticia goes to jail, it'll be because she decided to steal, not because we reported her. Michael went to sleep on the couch that night. The next day, when he left for work, I made my decision. I called the police. What I didn't know is that Letitia had made a much bigger mistake than I thought. You see, I'm not just an accountant, but I have a master's degree in forensic accounting. My specialty is detecting financial fraud, and when the police asked me to prepare all the case documentation, I knew exactly what to look for. It turns out that Letitia's access to our account wasn't just a bank error, as I had thought. When I reviewed all the documents Michael had signed, I realized that someone had altered the papers after he signed them. There were additional lines written in different ink, and Michael's signature on the authorization to add Letitia as a secondary holder was clearly forged. Letitia hadn't just stolen $50,000, she had committed document forgery and bank fraud. But wait, because it gets better. When detectives started investigating, they discovered that Letitia had been doing this for months, not just with us. She had scammed 2 ex-boyfriends, a former boss, and had even forged her mother's signature to take out a loan in her name. And the new BMW she had bought? She had paid for it completely with our money. When they arrested Letitia, she immediately tried to contact Michael for help. She told him it was all a misunderstanding, that I was exaggerating, that she just needed a lawyer to explain her side of the story. Michael, to his credit, had finally seen the light. Letitia, you forged my signature. You stole our savings. There's nothing to explain. But I'm your sister. Exactly. You're my sister. And you betrayed me in the worst possible way. The trial was a circus. Letitia hired a lawyer who tried to argue that it had all been a family misunderstanding, that she really thought she had a right to that money, because we were family. But the evidence was overwhelming. The forged documents, the multiple withdrawals, the pattern of scams with other people. The judge didn't buy a word of her defense. Letitia was sentenced to 5 years in prison for fraud, forgery, and grand theft. She also had to pay full restitution of the $50,000, plus interest and penalties. But here comes the part that gave me the most satisfaction. Turns out that as part of the investigation, they also discovered that Letitia had been receiving government assistance she wasn't entitled to. She had been reporting false income for years to continue qualifying for food, stamps and medical assistance. That added additional federal charges to her case. And the BMW? It was confiscated as evidence and eventually auctioned. We recovered our $50,000 from the auction proceeds. Update 1. It's been 6 months since Letitia was sentenced, and things have changed a lot. Diego now officially lives with us. His older brothers decided to stay with their paternal grandmother, but Diego wanted to stay with Aunt Carmen and Uncle Michael. We went through the whole legal process to become his temporary legal guardians while Letitia is in prison. It's been a difficult transition for him, obviously. It's hard for a 7-year-old to understand why his mom is in jail, but we're in family therapy and things are improving. What breaks my heart the most is that Diego told me he knew his mom took money that wasn't hers because he had seen her doing it before with other family members. A 7-year-old shouldn't know those things about his mother. Michael and I decided that we're going to apply for full adoption of Diego if Leticia loses her parental rights, which is very likely given that she now has multiple felony convictions. As for our plans to buy a house, we decided to postpone them. Diego needs stability right now, and moving wouldn't be best for him. Plus, we're saving for an education fund for him. The money we recovered from the BMW auction, $35,000 after legal fees, goes straight into an account for his college. Update 2A full. Year has passed, and I have incredible news. We officially adopted Diego. Leticia voluntarily gave up her parental rights from prison. According to her lawyer, she realized that the best thing for Diego was to stay with us. Honestly, I think she just wanted to get rid of the financial responsibility. Part of her sentence included paying child support from prison, and giving up her rights freed her from that obligation. Diego is thriving. His grades have improved dramatically. He's on the school soccer team, and he has friends. Most importantly, he seems genuinely happy. He no longer has that constant anxiety he had when he lived with Leticia. We've also managed to reconnect him with his older brothers. They come visit him every 2 weeks. And although they were initially resentful of us for sending their mum to jail, they now understand we did the right thing. In fact, the oldest, who's now 17, confessed to us that Leticia had also stolen money from him, his savings from his part-time job. As for Leticia, apparently life in prison hasn't been easy for her. Her mother told us she's had several disciplinary problems and her release date has been extended. Frankly, I don't feel an ounce of pity for her. Michael and I finally bought our house, a beautiful 4-bedroom house in an excellent school district. Diego has his own room, a yard where he can play, and it's only 5 minutes from his school. Update 3. I didn't think I'd have more to add to this story, but the last few months have brought some interesting developments. First, Leticia got out of prison 3 months ago. She served 2.5 years of her 5-year sentence for good behavior. Apparently, she finally learned to follow rules when the consequences were real. Immediately after getting out, she tried to contact us. She wanted to get her son back and rebuild her family. When we told her that Diego had been legally adopted by us, she was furious. She hired a lawyer with money we don't know where she got to try to reverse the adoption. She claimed she had been coerced into giving up her parental rights while she was emotionally vulnerable in prison. Fortunately, the case was dismissed immediately. The records clearly showed that she had made the decision voluntarily, after months of consideration and legal consultation. Plus, Diego, who's now 9 years old, testified before the judge that he wanted to stay with us. What the judge told Leticia has become one of my favorite phrases. Mrs. Morales, you gave up being a mother when you decided to steal from the people who were caring for your child. The consequences of our actions are permanent, and you must live with yours. Leticia also tried to sue for parental alienation and asked for money for all the years she lost with Diego. That lawsuit was also dismissed, and the judge ordered her to pay our legal fees. But the best part is what happened next. Turns out Leticia had been living with a new boyfriend who didn't know about her criminal history. When he found out about everything she had done, stealing from her family, lying about everything, losing her children, he kicked her out of his house immediately. Now she's living in a homeless shelter and working a minimum wage job. Her reputation in our town is completely ruined. No one wants to hire her for anything involving money handling, and all her old friends have completely cut her off. Meanwhile, Diego is on the honor roll at school, took piano lessons and tells us I love you every night before bed. His older brothers come visit him regularly and now call us Mom Carmen and Dad Michael. Sometimes justice takes time, but when it comes, it's beautiful. The last time we saw Leticia was a month ago at the grocery store. Diego was with me, and she approached trying to talk to him. Diego hid behind me and said, Mom Carmen, can we leave? That lady makes me nervous. Leticia heard him call me Mom and started crying right there in the cereal aisle. I felt nothing. No pity, no satisfaction, no anger, nothing. I simply took my son's hand, and we left. Because that's what Diego is now. My son. Not the son I stole or took away. The son I gained when his biological mother decided that stealing money was more important than being a mother. A lot of people have asked me if I regret reporting Leticia, if I feel I should have kept it in the family like Michael wanted at first. My answer is always the same. The only thing I regret is not reporting her sooner. If I had acted the first time she manipulated me or broke her word, maybe Diego wouldn't have had to go through the trauma of seeing his mother arrested. But I've also learned something important. Sometimes family isn't about the blood you share, but about the people who are willing to sacrifice for you. Letitia was family by blood, but never acted like family. While Diego, who didn't share our blood, became our son in every way that matters. To people going through similar situations, I tell them this: don't let family ties turn you into victims. Real love doesn't steal, doesn't manipulate, doesn't betray. And sometimes, the best way to protect your family is by removing toxic people from it, no matter how related to you they are. Diego is thriving. Michael and I are stronger than ever, and Letitia is living with the consequences of her decisions. I couldn't ask for a more just ending. Thanks for staying with me until the end of this incredible story. What do you think about what I did? Do you think I was too harsh with Letitia, or that she deserved it? I love reading your comments and hearing your perspectives on these complicated situations. If this story impacted you, don't forget to hit like so more people can see it, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more stories like this, and share this video with that person you know needs to hear about the importance of setting boundaries with toxic family. And speaking of impactful stories, on screen right now you have another video with a story that will leave you speechless about a mother-in-law who thought she could manipulate her daughter-in-law until she discovered who really had the power in that relationship. Click to continue on the channel and dive into more family drama that will have you on the edge of your seat. See you in the next video, and remember, never let anyone abuse your kindness no matter how much family they are.